Hey, happy Sunday, wrestling fans. This is your buddy OC Steve, just sharing my thoughts and comments about All Out last night. I will start with the buy in, and here we go. So, the opening of the buy in, the pre show before the pay per view, was a women's battle royale, which debuted a couple different people, a couple surprises. Tennille Jashwood, who was recently signed from Impact, was a part of this. Rowdy Piper's daughter, Teal, was a part of that as well. The biggest surprise was Mercedes Martinez. She was the Joker, and she was excellent. I really hope that they get her a contract down the line because she's a star on the rise. She can be the main female heel in All Elite, and it would be a natural sell, and I think she'll get over very well. Nyla Rose ultimately won this. I think they were kind of picking the hometown hero for leading to TV in October, so she will be one of the competitors for the AEW Women's title. The next match after that was between Private Party and Angelico and Jack Evans, aka Angelico and Jack Evans Team Neon or Mountain Dew, insert Monster Energy drink, whatever you want to call them. It was kind of a okay match. I mean, I'm still getting used to Private Party, so I'm getting what they're all about. I haven't really ever seen them before until they were announced with AEW. So just getting familiar with who they are. I mean, I know Angelico and Jack Evans, so it was an okay match. I mean, I would give it, like, if I had to give it a grade, I'd give it a C. So moving forward, then we actually go into the pay-per-view itself and the show, which was SCU, who's been established, been on being the Elite. They have also been in ROH, so, they're pretty familiar with the Elite and the Elite fans versus the new trio consisting of Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Mr. Funsize Marco Stunt. So you could tell in this match, the main emphasis was to get that trio called the Jurassic Express over. Mission accomplished. It was a good match. I thought it was a lot of fun. It highlighted every respective member that was in that match, including SCU, but SCU won. So that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what Jurassic Express has to offer in the future. The second match was kind of oddly placed. It was between Pac and Kenny Omega. This was kind of a last minute put together match just because of the injury and staph infection of Jon Moxley that he suffered during the G1 tournament. So you could kind of tell the initial premise was that they didn't really know each other and they were trying to feel each other out throughout the course of the match, but it just became really apparent that they just didn't really scout it, that they were kind of calling the match in the ring as it went. So there was kind of some awkward, botchy moments, but it was okay. I mean, I would still give it probably like a C. I mean, for a Kenny Omega match, it was kind of lacking in my personal opinion, and I've been following him for a few years. Then we go to what I thought was a big highlight of the night, probably the underdog match of the night, which was the Cracker Barrel Clash. Barrels were actually used in this match. Biscuits were actually flown. It was more of kind of a guerrilla warfare, if you're familiar with Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Match, the format. So had more hardcore implements involved with it. But there were great spots from Jimmy Havoc, doing Jimmy Havoc typical things, using paper to make paper cuts on Joey Janela. Joey had a great spot where he made fun of Jim Cornette, picked up a racket underneath the ring and just tossed it out. So shots were fired at Uncle Jimmy because he's been talking a lot of trash on Joey. And Darby was doing some crazy suicide dives involving a barrel at the end. But Jimmy Havoc ultimately won that match with his version of the Rainmaker that he calls the Acid Rainmaker. So that was a great match. I give that a solid B. The next match after that was the Dark Order versus the Best Friends. So that was actually a match that they've tried out just recently at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's 16 anniversary event. So that was a lot of fun to see that again. So I'm kind of, if you live in the Southern California area, it looks like they're trying to develop a partnership where they're going to test a lot of these matches out at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And moving forward, it'll be kind of neat because they're going to see what sticks to the wall. And if it does, they'll keep those spots and they'll keep those things. So they're just trying to test it out for crowd reaction. So that was a lot of fun. The next one was to determine the other entrant for the women's title when TV starts in October. That was between Riho and Shida. Obviously, Riho won that, so that's literally in October is going to be David versus Goliath because Riho is 90 pounds wet versus Nyla Rose. So that'll be interesting to see. This is where Kenny's influence comes in a lot because he's augmented the women's roster with a lot of Japanese female talent that he's familiar with. So wouldn't be surprised if Riho wins that. Just calling it right now. The next match after that was a grudge match between Cody and Shawn Spears. I was expecting a little bit more from this. I mean, there was a lot of pageantry leading up to the match, and I was just hoping for a grudge match, that they were going to ring the bell and they were going to go left and right. I was expecting a heel turn from MJF, but I guess that's a long time coming. They're going to set that up on TV. But just a regular, fair, good match for Cody and Shawn. I think Shawn wasn't used to his most in NXT or the WWE, so we're really getting to see him shine, and he'll have a good spot on this roster. And I'm looking forward to the Rhodes versus Spears and whoever's involved, including Tully Blanchard feud that will be kind of an understory as AEW continues. So that was cool. The next match after that was between the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers in Escalera de la Muerte. So it was for the AAA tag belts, as the tag belts haven't been established in AEW. Awesome spots in this match. Some craziness that went on left and right. Just tables getting destroyed, ladders getting destroyed, people getting thrown through ladders. It's worth your time. It was a great match. The finish was kind of awkward near the end, especially the part where Matt removed Penta's mask. I thought that was actually going to be the end of the match, where they were going to, yank the mask off of him, and maybe Nick would instruct Matt to take off the belt, so it would create kind of a schism between the Young Bucks about how this feud is turning them into something that they don't want to be. I thought there was a good potential for a story angle in that, but ultimately the Lucha Brothers won, and they also debuted LAX in the AEW roster. They might be involved in a story angle, they might be signed, who knows, but it was good to see them. I saw them wrestle the Rascals at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, so I really dig their style. I think that the tag match development in AEW is something that they pride themselves on, and it's starting to show. It's going to be something that's going to be one of their highlighted gems for this production. Then we come to the final match of the night, which was for the AEW Championship between Hangman Adam Page and the GOAT Chris Jericho. I thought the opening was great. They've been referencing for weeks that Hangman wanted to come out on a horse. He finally did. There was a lot of great and give and take between Jericho being the veteran, catching Adam Page on a lot of spots. But ultimately, Chris Jericho won. And I could kind of see this coming for the last few weeks, because Chris Jericho is a name brand, especially when you're going to TV and trying to sell this nationwide. You want to have somebody that's a recognizable face in homes. And Chris Jericho has done this for almost, if not longer, than Adam Page has been alive. And I think that's part of the development of the storyline, is that you want to see Adam Page suffer and struggle. So when he finally rises to the top, when he finally gets that belt, it's going to be this journey that we've all experienced, including everybody who is going to be jumping on the Wednesday Night War to watch AEW itself. So I was looking forward to that. I was ecstatic as a Chris Jericho fan. It was fun. There was a lot of stuff on YouTube where they were covering his victory, his little victory lap behind the scenes, talking to people, talking trash, opening champagne, and just being ecstatic. It was great. It was classic Chris Jericho. I strongly suggest that you watch it on YouTube. Other than that, I thought that it was a good pay-per-view. It wasn't a great pay-per-view. There's plenty of room for improvement, but there was a lot of good matches. My overall grade for this pay-per-view would be a solid B, not a minus or a plus, just a solid B. There's a lot of areas for improvement, and they have competition coming at them hard and quick in the form of NXT. So I'm looking forward to what's going to happen in October. I'm looking forward to covering it. This is the start of me just talking off the cuff directly to people. If you enjoyed what I said, please give me a like or a thumbs up on the various social media platforms that it is. But more importantly, be involved in the discussion. I'm going to post this on different social media platforms. So let me know what you thought of All Out, and we'll take it from there. And as always, support independent wrestling, support wrestling, and more importantly, just enjoy being a fan.